Hi guys, and welcome to today's task. For today's task, I'm going to show you how to install hanger rods in your closet. It is a very simple process to do. If you want to update them, maybe some of yours are old, you want to get rid of them, nice new ones, maybe you've just rebuilt a closet because you've been inspired by today's task and now you need to know how to put these closet rods on. I'll show you how easy it is to change them and a special tool that I personally like to use when it comes to cutting this style of rod. Alright, the style of rod that I chose is this 1 5/16". It's pretty big. I like how big it is, but I will say the stuff that I used to use was only like 3/4 inch rod. I really like that system. It's not available anymore at the local stores, so I had to go to this bigger stuff, which I think we'll like a little bit more. One thing to be aware of when you buy this is if your rod is 1 5/16", make sure you're buying the 1 5/16" connections to it. I noticed that there was different size bars throughout there and different size connectors. They all look fairly similar. I know a lot of people think, oh, just start taking your measurements and whatnot, all that. That's not how I like to do it. I like to figure out where it's gonna go, and I like to get it as close to the edge as possible so that I have as much room for a hanger. Typically, they recommend 18 to 24 inches. So I know I at least need 9 to 12. And if I bring it out to this edge, I'm gonna have 12 inches in. So even if big suit coats, say a puffy, like down coat, whatever, can hang here and it won't tilt the hangers back. So that's something to take into account when you're putting your hanger bars in. Next thing is height. You want to give as much height to this space as possible. So I want that bar up here as high as possible as well, but you do have to allow for the hanger to be able to get in. So going off of what I've looked at, what I've done in the past, typically if I have at least 1.5 inches from the top of the bar, the hanger will get in no problem and sit down, and it gives me enough room that I'm not wasting any height. Because last thing you want to do is have your hanger sit down here and have 3 inches of space that's wasted here. So we're going to take up as much as possible. I recommend 1.5 inches to 1 3/4 from the top of the bar, and then we'll go from there. So for my measurements, I'm going to put a rough mark at 2 inches down for the dead center of my bar. At 2 inches, make a lateral mark. And we are not building a watch here, so don't get too technical with yourself. That just tells me middle of my bar. And we'll do the same over here. And I'm stepping off the edge there just a little bit because I've got to have room for the plate that comes out here. One is a horseshoe, one is a perfect circle. This one you put the bar in and then it can come back and forth a little bit if it needs to. And this one it just cradles it in so that you can get the bar in after these are installed. So I recommend putting in this one first. And I roughly eyeball it, center of that bar. That looks pretty good. Bring this to the edge because I want to come out as far as I can and start making my marks. And like all finished work, pre-drill. But remember, don't punch all the way through because you'll have a hole on the back side of your closet cubby. And before I screw those in, I want to show you something. These screws are going to go into this piece right here, which clearly is deep enough to have all of this screw. But on these upper ones, the screw is actually longer, so I'm going to have to nip a little bit of that screw off and then put it in. So pre-drilling is definitely necessary on all of these. And I really recommend you take 1 extra second and measure for all of that so that you don't ruin your finished carpentry. And then we install. And that tip that I can't stress enough with all things, get all of your screws started and then tighten them down. And also if you have an impact drill, be very aware of how tight you put it so that you don't strip the screws. Because our U-shaped one and this one are a little bit different, it's harder to gauge center. So I'm gonna take a small measurement here and know that the bottom of that is at 2 3/4. So now I know how high to put my horseshoe one. And since the plates are about the same depth here, I just bring this to touch that opening. Bring it down to 2 3/4 while holding it very steady. Mark your holes. Now with both of our hangers in place, it's time to get a measurement. When I get this measurement, I want to put the tip of my measuring tape on the bracket and then come over to the board here because I know the rod can actually slide into this a little bit further than it can into that one. So I get my measurement, give or take a 1/16, 32 3/8. And then we go cut it. So we grab our measurement. We're going to do this upside down to to make it interesting, and mark our line on our pipe. Now, some people will use a hacksaw, a sawzall, whatever you got that does create a jagged edge that you're gonna have to clean up, or I don't know. It's just an edge I don't like. It also is messy. I like these pipe cutters. These are meant for copper piping, steel piping, really for plumbers to use. They work perfect for this. And if you're buying the 1 5/16", you do need to buy the bigger one, but it works like a champ. I put this roughly in place and bring this to that mark. Then you just tighten it up and start spinning. Tightening it every couple of turns. And it does take a minute, just tightening each time. But the cool part is it makes a perfectly clean cut. Now there is a little burr in there that if you were plumbing, you would get rid of. We're not plumbing, it doesn't matter. This is soft and smooth to the touch, so we can actually just put it in place. The thing I like most about this is I can do it inside the house, inside finish work. I don't have to drag this tool or piece out into the garage and do it there so that my mess is there. I don't make a mess here. It's really cool. I will link this guy down in the description down below. Don't let the price tag scare you. There are cheaper versions and they all work great. To install, you simply put the round end in first, come over top of the horseshoe and settle down. This is a super easy task, and I like this one because it really does kind of hold it steady. It's not flopping all over the place. It will come out of there, but with a little bit of force. So typically you could put some glue in there if you wanted to. You could even put a tapping screw in there to make this thing never come out of here, but I think it's okay that they pop up and down. You guys, this was a very simple task. If you liked today's video, give it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. And if you're interested in a Today's Task hat, email mytodaystask@gmail.com and we'll send you all the information to order one. Thanks for watching. Bye guys. How to install curtain hanger rods. Be aware, if you have a red, a little tip, ever built, a little tip for us amateur, so 1 5/16". A little amateur tip here is that I just don't want to have to record it. But first things first, because I know, so we quickly grab our measurement, which was